Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Maggie. And welcome to the M&M Debrief, the podcast where Mike and Maggie discuss the top stories in politics and sports and try to make sense of the headlines. Mike, do we have any follow-ups from the last episode?
Yeah, I got a couple. Let's see. Looks like the Iranian hacking has expanded to 7 states. I know Minnesota got a lot of publicity, but it's actually 7 states that are getting hit. I don't quite know which ones.
And I think the publicity came from, President Trump himself, who said it was all Waltz's fault. It wasn't Iran at all. But you're saying it is Iran?
That's what it sounds like. We'll see if they can get into the electrical grid and other things as well. So
they're just practicing right now, aren't they?
Yeah, I agree with that completely. They are just sort of. There's a lot of stuff they could take out, but they're not. They're just kind of laying low, drinking their tea, waiting for a strategic time to do something.
Are one of the 7 states Texas by chance?
I don't know. I didn't see the other 7 states. I missed it, but it's more than just Minnesota.
Okay. I'm just saying, though, Texas notoriously has their own grid, separate from the national grid. So if they take out Texas is in trouble.
They can't connect. They can't connect to the rest of the grid, right? But this is
right? That's
the electrical grid. We're talking about the water grid here, but
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah.
This is the water system. They might have their own water system too, for all I know. But
okay.
And then there are more and more of our planes now are getting parked in Tel Aviv. I've brought this up a while ago, but people are starting to think that the Israelis, not to get conspiratorial here, but that the Israelis might like that because it'll be bait. And as soon as some of these planes get hit by Iran, then that would motivate America to attack even further. It might be kind of a false flag type, like a reverse false flag or something. And they're okay. Yeah, go ahead. Park all your planes here at the Tel Aviv airport. It's a lot easier for the Iranians to bomb them, and then we'll drop a nuke on them. I guess that's what they're thinking about, but that's just a conspiracy theory. So I don't know. But more and more planes are in Tel Aviv. That for sure I can tell you.
Okay.
All equipment, more and more military equipment is getting consolidated into Israel.
And so we think, though, the real reason is because of the Golden Dome. They're safer there, and also the rest of the Middle East doesn't want our planes in their backyards.
Right. Yeah. Yes, that's the real reason, is that Iran is blowing everything else up that we could possibly have. We can't keep the aircraft carriers close because we'll get hit, and all the other bases and all the other places are
Nobody
done.
else wants us. We're losing friends.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah.
Let me see. The bombing has died down a little bit, probably because of ammunition. I think that we've been talking about that for a while. And there's more and more generals speaking up, and more active duty generals are speaking up. And these are guys that are in charge of, the Asian effort and the European theater and the South American theater, and all the ammunition is getting taken from them to do this. And they're all starting to go, hey, dude, I'm supposed to be protecting South America, and I ain't got no ammunition.
I got nothing here.
So more, and a couple of generals who are actually active duty are saying stuff, which is verboten. So, so kind of quiet for the moment.
Okay. I heard that Trump was saying that they were in talks again with Iran. Is that true? It must be true.
Yeah, no, we're not. I mean, I think he tweeted something about duplicitous. The Iranians are duplicitous, but nobody believes Trump anymore. And the Iranians came out nearly immediately and said, "We're not negotiating anything yet." I don't know what he's talking about. So I don't know why people listen to what he says, I guess, but who knows. Iranians are close to finalizing a deal on the PGSA, which is the Persian Gulf Strait Authority, where they will manage traffic and charge a toll. Apparently the Iranians monitor the inbound traffic, and the Omanis monitor the outbound traffic.
Oh.
So here we had free
And by
flow.
monitor, we mean charge tolls. Is that correct?
Yes, charge
Make sure
tolls.
everybody pays their toll. Okay.
Right. So we had free flow of navigational traffic there before, and now they are charging tolls, and that'll be reflected in your gasoline prices eventually. So, and guess what? And Trump will portray that as a victory. Just watch him.
Yay.
So kind of quiet for the last few days. We'll see what's gonna fire it up. I wanted to make a point here. The Jerusalem Post made a comment a couple days ago saying that the actual goal of Epic Fury, and then I don't know, the Israelis had their own name for it, was actually regime change. Nobody in America media talks about regime change anymore, but the Jerusalem Post did publish an article that came out of Israel, their leadership, that the regime change was the actual goal, was one of the initial goals. We don't even talk about that. We don't even talk about that anymore. That's why I wanted to bring it up.
Well, I can see why, because why wouldn't you change someone who's against nuclear arms and who wants peace with the new regime that is much more agreeable to nuclear arms and, wants to kill Americans? Yes. Why not?
Do you blame them?
Exactly. So the regime change was why? What was the purpose?
I don't know. The guy was going to die anyway. He had
he was 80
stage
whatever.
4, and he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He was going to die anyway. So.
Oh, good Lord. And so you decided to let Americans die so that you can cut 6 months off his life?
Yeah.
Right.
If that. So
It's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, well, the whole thing is ridiculous. I don't know, but anyway, that came out. I just wanted to make a point that we seem to forget about, or we don't talk about that anymore. So, let me see. Over in Ukraine, Ukraine and Russia are just trading strikes, heavy strikes. Nothing overly major has been hit, as far as I could tell, but just more banging back and forth. Speaking of Iran, apparently Tehran was planning on hitting a few sites in Ukraine in retaliation for when they bombed the ship that had the military equipment on it. But apparently Kyiv apologized, so they stopped their plans for a strike. So I'm not sure why Ukraine ought to just worry about Russia, and I don't know what they're thinking. But Tehran was about to hit them with a few things, and they apologized, and everything got called off. So
interesting.
I'm still trying to figure it out. Pretty sure we are with the Ukrainians. I think we're against the Russians. We're against the Iranians. We're with the Israelis.
Well, it's just interesting to me that Tehran seems to be a little, thin-skinned, that they're going to retaliate against a brand new country just because another country's cargo ship was.
Well, it was their equipment. They probably paid for it. Whatever got, even though it was a Russian ship, the Iranians probably paid them for it. So.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I get that. Okay.
I don't think the Russians are just giving that to them. They'll probably give advice and targeting information, but not actual equipment to them for free. So, yeah, this is the cross currents here are interesting to see how it all plays out.
Right. Well, I'm glad Ukraine did that because we don't want the war to expand.
It's probably going to expand.
Well,
unless
today.
unless this if this Strait of Hormuz deal, if Iran and Oman get their deal and then they propose that to Trump and he accepts it, that might open things up a little bit because then the ships will be going in and out, and Trump will just sort of lazily say, "Hey, we're pulling out. We've achieved our goals. We got the Strait open again, even though it was already open before things started." And so we'll see how that goes. That might slow things down a little bit. But then if Israel keeps going into Lebanon, then I think the Iranians will step up and go after them. And we'll see exactly what's going on here with that. And then I guess one other thing, there's a Ukrainian general, Zaluzhny. Oh, okay. He had said that it's not likely that Ukraine would join NATO. That's kind of been a thing, whether Ukraine will join NATO. And the reason he gave was outdated doctrine. The Ukrainians have already moved on to the drone warfare, and they're ahead technology and tactics wise. And if they were to join NATO, they would have to kind of go back to the old way of doing things with the F-35s and tankers and aircraft carriers and stuff. And he's saying, hey, man, we're in a brave new world here. If we join NATO, it would slow us down, basically. So the outdated doctrine is kind of the reasoning that this guy, I don't know how valid his opinion is. I mean, he's a general in the Ukrainian army, but he might have just made it up, but he is a general in the Ukrainian army, and I'm pretty sure he knows what's going on. But
Russia,
yeah, maybe
because that was the reason why Russia supposedly went to war with Ukraine, because they didn't want Ukraine to join NATO, and now
they were worried about incursion and stuff. Yeah. And
so
then
now
having
Zaluzhny is saying, "Oh no, we don't even want to join."
His reasoning sounds valid. It's we're moving on to drone warfare. If we join NATO, we would have to go back to the old way of doing things, and we don't want to do that. Outdated doctrine, military doctrine. So seemed
NATO
reasonable.
Is just I have your back, you have mine,
kind of thing. Yes.
So, yeah.
All right. Otherwise, it's been a quiet few days in the war front. Yeah, and I'm going over to the domestic side. Sometimes this stuff overlaps here. All right. I am done on the war. Yeah, so I got a few things on the domestic side. So the Michigan primary is the Democratic primary is today. It appears by all accounts that Abdul El Said is going to win. He's got like a 42-point lead with people under 50. He's got a 12-point lead, people 50 to 60. And yeah, this Haley Stevens doesn't look like it's going to happen. I'm going to say don't be surprised.
It's not for lack of trying. I mean, she worked very hard for it, but there's a winner, there's a loser, and
there's
I think this El Said is actually just really speaking to what the Michigan people want, which is not Israel, not war, and they want health care, right?
Yeah, he's a medical doctor, and he's just talking almost exclusively about healthcare, and which is wise. It's for all you Democrats out there. That's what you should be talking about: minimum wage, healthcare, childcare,
prices,
unionization, price inflation. All the economic issues should bolt to the top of your list there. Yeah, I think AIPAC dumped another like 50 million in there, and I don't think it's going to work this time. So worked against Thomas Massey, but anyway, I'm not gonna predict, but don't be surprised if El Said wins that. The Michigan, just for you folks out there, Michigan contains the largest Muslim population in the country. It's a state. Dearborn, Michigan is huge Muslim population, and so and this guy's parents came from Egypt. So the next thing, good old Max Miller from Ohio, who is a representative. He is the ex-son-in-law of Bernie Moreno, who's one of the sitting senators from Ohio. This scandal is just kind of blowing up. I think it looks like I think they're having a primary as well, a Republican primary. I think in Ohio,
representative, right? Every 2 years, so he's up for election.
Yeah, it seems like the evidence is pretty clear that he's an abuser. He threw boiling water on his ex-wife. Apparently broke his own daughter's collarbone, who's 2 years old.
How the hell would you do that? Just ridiculous.
Yeah, and Bernie Moreno, who's his ex-father-in-law, finally said something. He hasn't said a freaking word, and this is his own daughter.
What took him so freaking long? It's his daughter and granddaughter.
And finally spoke up and said something. So looks like Max Miller's going down the drain, but we will see about that. RFK Jr. had a crazy hostile interview on CNN. I think Dana Bash gave it to him pretty well.
Oh, I heard some of that. Yes.
I'm not a fan of Dana Bash for other reasons, but she gave
She
him
gave
hell.
it to him, honey.
She
She's
gave it
like,
to him on
"What
this
are
one.
your
Yeah.
studies? You have no actual proof or clinical evidence."
Yeah, he was very angry, condescending. He would go, "You probably don't understand this because you're not a medical doctor, or you're
Oh,
not
yeah,
a
he was calling
science.
himself a scientist. And
You're
she
not a
said, "I'm not a
scientist." And she goes, "You're
scientist."
not a scientist either." So,
Dipwad?
he just looked crazy. He is
Yeah.
incredibly stupid. I think he's got a brain worm is still in there. Maybe, I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're interested, it was a pretty feisty interview. I got issues with Dana Bash, but she represented it in this interview pretty well, and
Good.
it made RFK Jr. look like an idiot,
Good.
which didn't take much actually.
Right.
Let me see here. Donald J. Trump, maybe you've heard of him, and his family have been debanked at Capital One. I don't know if you've heard this,
Oh, no, I
but
haven't. What do they mean by debanked?
meaning they won't bank you. They won't
Seriously,
allow.
but Trump made $2.3 billion during
Yeah,
the past
yeah.
18 months as president of the United States. So
Yeah, they won't. They
I'm
won't.
shocked.
Will not give you a checking account or ways to pay your bills. They debank. They
Wow.
basically, you realize? Do you understand what you have to do to get debanked by somebody? So Capital One apparently, I don't know exactly which accounts, had to be their charity accounts or some of their other business accounts. They got
Good for
flagged.
them.
The money laundering department flagged them, and they canceled their various checking and brokerage accounts, I guess, and payment accounts, credit card accounts, and they sued them.
Money
And
laundering.
yeah, and then
I'm not surprised.
apparently they sued and lost. And so Capital One is just saying, "Look, man, you got some hinky behavior going on here. Go bank somewhere else." So I don't know exactly where he's going, but the genius businessman can't even get a bank account at Capital One. So I'm sure he'll get it.
And get a bank to, yeah.
Somebody will give it to him, but we'll see. You don't see that much getting debanked. With rich white people, that's what you don't see that very often. But
No, you do not.
let me see. FIFA. We talked a little bit about
Last week, yes.
last time, but their plan for having private shares got totally scrapped and done. So maybe that should
Good
have been
decision.
maybe that should have been under the follow-up section, but they did officially scrap their plans, since basically the entire soccer world said,
No effing way.
no effing way, and we'll make our own new FIFA and totally reject you if you do this." Basically, we're not going to play in
Yeah.
your World Cup, and we're not going to do any of this. And so Infantino finally said, "Okay, that's done."
Okay, fine.
So, let me see. I've got a couple of business issues, just generally the same thing.
Mhm.
The various tech companies, the Mag 7, for those of you, the Magnificent 7, which are basically 40% of the S&P, are 7 stocks. They're called the Magnificent 7. This would be Amazon, Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, Microsoft, Google. Their earnings have been monstrous hits, and the stock market's been up like 4% over the last couple of days. So that'll tell you where our economy is, or at least our it's all AI related, and they're doing some adjusting on whether they're going to pay for software, whether they're going to pay for infrastructure and that sort of stuff. But the stock market is taking off. Oil's coming down. And so just an FYI on that,
So, honey, just so for clarity, I think last week we were talking about potentially the stock market was turning.
mhm.
So,
Yeah, I thought too. It looked like it was starting to roll over, but it kind of the ship got righted, and just all the earnings that these guys are making on
is
various
off the charts.
yeah,
But it's
yeah,
only those 7,
yeah,
although frankly it is 40% of the market, so that is
right.
huge. So
Yeah.
should people invest or no?
I can't really give advice because
No,
if I say invest and then it dumps 20%, then we
you'll
could
get
get sued.
lawsuits.
We could get sued, but it's
So
coming back to life.
use your own best judgment.
Invest at your own peril.
Or,
The
stay there for the long haul because it's going to go up, it's going to go down, and in
mhm.
the end, it's going to go generally up, depending on
Theoretically,
when
yeah.
you're investing.
Right. Theoretically, the businesses make money, and the bigger businesses are into the S&P index. So generally, over the course of time, yes, it's just you should be a little strategic about when you stay in and when you get out. And
Hmm.
uh, it looks like you might want to get back in again, but don't take my advice. Do your own research. So, but it kind of tells me that what's actually driving the stock market is completely different than what is actually driving the economy. So just because the stock market's up doesn't mean that your groceries are going to get any cheaper. It just means that
No, we still are screwed. Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are going to make more money. That's all it means.
Yeah.
So
And Trump.
that's yeah. So that's the only thing I can tell you for sure is the stock market is not the economy. So when you
Hmm.
read about the stock market being up and you think the economy is going up, you couldn't be more wrong. So alrighty. What did I see? Sonia Sotomayor, Supreme Court Justice. There's a lawsuit. I think it's by the Israelis against the Palestinian
Hmm.
liberation, the PLO, and the Palestinian Authority about some killings 20 years ago. And I don't know
20
why they.
years ago.
Yeah, over 20 years ago in the early 2000s.
Wow.
I guess families brought lawsuits against the PLO. I wish the PLO would sue the Israeli families, but hey, maybe that's just me. I don't know why this is an American court. I think we have some sort of international terror laws or something. So these lawsuits were rejected by some lower courts, but then in 2019, some new laws were passed, and all these lawsuits got to come back to life. And one of them, there was a request to put a pause on things, and Sotomayor just said, "Forget it, it's going through." So apparently, you can sue the PLO in an American court, and
How is that possible?
nobody. Yeah, that this is the kind of stuff I
Is it
can't
because
figure
the
out.
United Nations is in New York? I don't know.
Well, we got certain laws. The families that are suing are probably American families and just living in Israel. But that's what I'd guess. But the fact that she would just roll it through without a word, without comment, and if it were the other way around, I wonder if Palestinian families can sue. If I were a lawyer, I'd get some Palestinians
Hell, can we sue?
yeah. And well, where
Can
do you
we
think?
sue Israel for the 18 people who died
Yeah, we should be able
fighting
to
in
sue. We
Iran?
should be able to sue Israel, right? But where do you think that would go, honey? How do you think that would go? So anyway, I thought this was a big deal. You think she'd at least say something, considering how tense things are these days. So, but
I'm just saying, if you do
mm,
something like that, you have to expect someone to do that in return to you.
yeah, I mean, if you go to Israel and it's a big mess there, what do you expect? So, yeah, there's no effing way that they're gonna pay $655 million, but we shall see, I guess.
Was it 33 people that died 20 years
33,
ago?
33 people who died 20 years ago. Yep.
And how many tens of thousands died in Gaza in the
Yeah,
last 2 years?
they need better lawyers, I guess.
Apparently.
Apparently, they need better lawyers. Yeah, so there you go. Sonia Sotomayor will be on your side if you. Well, probably not, but let's see. Anyway, enough of that. I noticed that Kalshi, the prediction market website, is being sued by the state of New York
That's right. And I actually was going to bring that up last week. I meant to.
for gambling,
Yes,
illegal gambling. Yep.
gambling without a license
Gambling without a license. Yes.
because they're not gambling, they're predictive or something,
They're predicting, right, exactly.
which I think it's gambling, frankly. I'm sorry.
It is gambling. But they
And
call
we
it
all know it's gambling. Exactly. Are we all going to
yeah.
pretend it's not? Seriously?
Yeah, we all know it's gambling, and this is one thing about these current times. Like, Trump will start a war and he'll call it this, and then 58 days into it, he'll just say, "Okay, I'm done with that exercise. Now I'm going to start a new one and call it a different name." And it was
Does
like,
he just have ADHD?
dude, it's the same war here. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. Right.
So, and a human interest item I saw. A fellow named Robert Sturm, Stirm. He
Never heard of him.
died. Ah, yes. So he was a colonel in the Air Force during Vietnam, and he got shot down, and he was a prisoner of war for 5 years, and then he got released in 1973. I think he was in a cell right next to John McCain.
Oh, wow.
In
Hanoi Hilton, right?
In the Hanoi Hilton. And the reason I brought him up is he is the subject of one of the most famous photographs in the history of war and the history of the AP. I don't know if it's called, it actually won a Pulitzer Prize in 1974. And when he got off the plane, his family was all running to hug him.
Oh, I know that
and,
one.
Yeah.
His arms are outstretched.
And the daughter is running to meet him. It's called Burst of Joy. It actually has a name, the photograph. And it's very heartwarming, but it's a bittersweet because his wife had wrote him a Dear John letter. Like, and he got it 3 days before this picture. He was in a POW for 5 years, and his wife was out cheating on him with other men. And she wrote him a Dear John letter, and they gave it to him a couple days before. So you see if you know the backstory of it, it looks like it's the family being joyful, and the wife is there with a smile on her face. And then you find out she sent him a Dear John letter like 3 days before, and he got it. Or maybe he got this. And then she ended up getting a bunch of his pension and stuff, and they both got remarried and they all moved on. But it was a very famous photograph, but it was a bittersweet story in reality. And the guy died. I think he was in his 90s. He died last week.
Oh,
So anyway, human interest story.
interesting.
All right, hon, you got anything else? Why don't you tell me about a couple things?
What was I saying? It's lost on me. I'm still caught up on the burst of joy. Let's see here. Oh, the helipad.
Oh, yes.
More
grift.
Our Trump, our little Donnie Trump is a bit of a, designer, and he didn't like the way the helipad was constructed. It was not level enough for him. So he's having them pull it all up and redo it. So I guess Lockheed Martin actually contributed $5 million to this new fancy helipad at the White House. And now it's going to cost a lot more money. And who's going to pay for it, honey? I wonder.
Yeah, I can only assume that something will come out of this.
I don't know. And the other Trump triumph thing, the Arc de Triomphe for Washington, D.C. I mean, I hate that personally because it's just a copycat of the Arc de Triomphe, frankly. And it just seems so icky, childish.
Yeah, he's just
Copycat.
trying to stamp his memory on.
He
I mean,
is.
he's putting
And
he's
you
on
know,
the
my theory,
dollar.
my theory, honey, is this is an old man who knows he's going to die. He feels his mortality, and he's trying to grasp at longevity, at life, by planting his name everywhere across the country. Sorry. Whether it's, an airport name or whether it's on the Chicago River with his name on the side of the hotel, or it's the Arc de Triomphe in Washington, D.C., or anything else. He is just trying to not die. And I think if people understood that about him, they might begin to figure him out. Everything he's doing is about his legacy, his longevity, his desire to try to live even after he dies. Not that I'm a psychologist or anything. That's my 2 cents worth. But in any case, the helipad is now the new reflection pool. Oh, and by the way, the reflection pool, the poor guy who was an Olympian in the past, former Olympian, who kind of went over there and kind of looked at it and was like examining all the mess that was there. They arrested him. Obviously, Janine Pirro came to her senses and pulled the prosecution of that poor man. And, God, but this poor fellow did nothing wrong, but he was being blamed again, just so that yours truly, Donald Trump, could save face and blame somebody else for the poor workmanship, etc. But in any case, Janine Pirro now had to meet with Trump this afternoon. I guess he called her in and was pretty pissed at her. I don't know how that ended up. I don't know if she's going to lose her job, but everybody should know by now, for God frickin' sake, if you get too close to the flame, you're going to get burnt. Trump does not have any loyalty to anybody. If you think that he's going to be loyal to you, if you think you're going to put your life down for him and he's going to appreciate it, you're wrong. You're just wrong. And he's going to throw you out just like everybody else when he's done with you. So.
Yeah, speaking of Kalshi, what's the who do you think is going to get fired next? Pirro or Hegseth? I could put a bet down on that.
He likes Hegseth too much. Hegseth is his pretty boy.
Yeah, the woman will get fired.
The woman will get fired. That's the way it goes.
And speaking of touching this law firm, the Paul Weiss law firm, there's an article in the New York Times about the duplicitousness and the downfall of this once great law firm, and they decided to kowtow to Trump and throw all their values
for the money.
Huge civil rights law firm, and they just for the money, and so they wouldn't get sued, and they all capitulated, and just the downfall of this once great organization. Everything Trump touches dies, man. I'm telling you, that's what's happened. So
I do have one last little tiny bit of good news. An appeals court, so this will probably end up at the Supreme Court. An appeals court blocked Trump from rescinding billions in climate funds that were awarded under Joe Biden for climate. There you go.
Yeah, so it'll be at the Supreme Court. Yeah,
it'll be Supreme Court, and they'll give it to him. Yeah, they'll let rescind it.
Probably. Brett Kavanaugh, he'll be drinking some beers. Although Blanche is not going to get. I think he's not going to make it, right? Todd Blanche.
I heard that Susan Collins has now come out to say, because she's up for election. She's going to come out and say now that she's against Todd Blanche. She's going to vote against it. I don't know if that's enough, but
she's concerned. Susan Collins is concerned.
Cornyn and Tillis were giving us some sort of hope for some sort of integrity on the Republican side. But no, even though Trump peed on them, they're going to come back and basically support Todd Blanche because they're stupid. And, they're going to get lobbying jobs afterwards anyway. So they need to be in good
good standing
grace with the leaders. So
yeah, well, I think for a hot minute there, I thought they had a backbone, but apparently not. No self-respect either.
We had some hope.
We had some hope. All right. Yeah. Anyway. All right, honey. Is that it? I think
that's all.
This is starting to bum me out here. Maybe we got to call it.
Well, I was trying to end on a happy note, but okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody. And as always, remember you should share us with friends and follow us or subscribe. We're on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple.
And thank you for listening to episode 31.
31. Goodbye.